What is up, you gorgeous, fabulous creatures, and welcome to another week of the Losing It podcast. You're here with Kylie Pax, Australia's emotional eating coach. We've had so many new listeners arriving, landing, discovering the podcast recently. I'm really, really thrilled. So please remember, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, hit the button, give the subscribe, leave a comment, do whatever you all have to do to make sure that we can spread the message so that not one more woman has to deal with this absolute bullshit in her lifetime. So what I'm going to share with you today is I just want to share some of the biggest lessons really quickly that I learned from my 20 kilo weight loss. Don't be afraid of the last one. I'm going to scoot through them really quickly, but the last one is probably the most important. So definitely, we're starting right up there with number one. I'm going to say this one is probably also equally important. Sister, please, if you learn nothing from today, you better fucking learn this. Write it down on your hand if you have to. Hunger is not an emergency. So many of us try and eat extra food, especially in the morning. We eat breakfast when we're not even hungry. We think we need to eat more now because we won't get a chance to eat till later. Oh my God, I should have researched this before I jumped on here, but there is, I don't know how many days the human body can go. We're not talking hours, minutes, or fucking seconds. Days, sister, you could go without eating food and you're not going to cark it. You'll be fine. Hunger is not an emergency. You know the first eating code that I share in my free course. If you haven't got it yet, sis, come on, kyliepax.com/free course. I share the entire 5 eating codes and break down exactly how you need to use them so that you can lose the weight like I did. But the number one eating code is if you're not hungry, you don't fucking eat. You don't eat. Hunger is not an emergency. We don't live in a society whereby if you don't get this meal now, you won't see one for another 72 hours. That's just literally not a thing. It's just not a thing. In fact, let me just put it this way. If you're listening to this podcast, for you, that is definitely not a thing. You don't need to eat extra food now just in case you get hungry later. Hunger is just hunger. Hunger is just hunger. You're not going to die. Like, I repeat, you're not going to die. In fact, if anything, it's going to give your little body a chance to tap into some of those fat stores that you're running around with on your booty and get rid of those. You're going to be okay. The next thing that I learned from my journey was in fact, not even probably, it was a huge blow to my ego. Massive. And I still sort of grapple with it to this day because you know the number one thing, I've been saying it for 1,000 years, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So if you see this pattern that I'm about to share with you, if you see this showing up in your eating, I fucking guarantee you it's showing up in multiple areas of your life. And that is, it's not the food that's the problem. It was never the food that's the problem. So many of us think, I can't keep this certain food in the house. I can't control myself around the food. I can't, don't bring that into the house. Once I start, I can't stop. No. That is a bullshit story that you tell yourself. That is some hard-ass rules that you have made up. What are rules? You're all like, the fuck's she talking about now? What are rules? Rules are bullshit rules, such that you have now decided that a rule that exists for you is that when someone brings donuts into the house, Krispy Kremes, you can't control yourself. That's not a thing. Do you know how I can prove to you 100% that's not a thing? If Krispy Kremes you thought were your kryptonite, if they were, because they used to be mine, now I just don't care because I realized it was a rule. But if you had bought previously Krispy Kremes into my kitchen and said, don't eat them, Kylie, or I told myself, don't eat them because I need to lose weight. You know, I'm trying to get skinny, you got to lose weight. Ooh, I need to lose weight. Can't eat the Krispy Kremes, but I find them just impossible to resist. If you then said to me, Kylie, here's a bunch of Krispy Kremes, going to put them on the kitchen table. Listen, they fell in some dog shit on the way over here. Do you think I would be tempted to eat them? How quickly do you think I would be backing away? Do you think I would be salivating and finding it uncontrollable to resist? No, it's a rule that you've made up. So the food is not the problem. That's fine. So we established that. But let me tell you what the fucking problem is. The problem is, and this is where you see my voice gets a little calmer, a little lower, a little more intimate, because I really do want you to get this. And I don't want to hurt your feelings, but because this applied to me as well. The actual problem is your lack of integrity and your lack of boundaries and the promises that you keep making to yourself that you consistently break, usually within 12 to 24 hours. I'm not going to do that again. I overate so much last night. I feel so sick. 6 hours later, you're eating, you're stuffing your face again. Oh, that's it. I'm for sure not going to eat that way. I'm going to keep the chocolate out the house. I'm going to get my shit together and I'm going to start getting healthy. 12 hours later, you're at Macca's. You are breaking your own boundaries and completely shattering your integrity every single time you do that. And do you think, well, let's reestablish that. You think that what you actually think is that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't, because it doesn't involve anybody else. Nobody else is directly affected or involved. You eating Macca's after you promised that you weren't going to doesn't directly impact anybody else. And I say directly because it ends up putting you in a shitty mood and everybody else that you come around with has to listen to your whining and whinging. So it does indirectly affect other people. But we think because it doesn't have, there's no direct nexus, there's no direct impact between what you do when you choose to break your word to yourself and another person, you think it doesn't count. Doesn't count, doesn't matter. Nobody's any the wiser. I'll just start again tomorrow. But you have shattered your integrity, your trust in yourself, your boundaries, the promises you make to yourself. You've broken them so many times that now the next time you step up and go, that's it, I'm going to get healthy. This time is going to be the one. And you find your next plan that you're going to find online and you're Googling, you don't even believe it. You can't believe yourself because you've bullshitted to yourself so many times before. I'm going to share one more quick one with you. You've got to, honey, this is what I realized really, it took me a while to realize this one. And so many of you haven't even realized this yet. So I'm going to spell it out for you again. You've got to let go of the story that you need to eat quote unquote perfectly in order to lose weight. You know how I can tell instantly if somebody is stuck in this story or in this zone? Because they will use words like, I did really good today, or I ate bad today. Or they'll make a choice like eat a cookie and they'll go, oh, this is so bad. I'm being so wicked. Or they'll say no to the cookie and they'll say, no, that's okay. I'm trying to be good. Thanks. The fuck is that? You don't need to get your eating perfectly in order to lose weight. In fact, you only need to hit about the 80% mark for your body to go into the weight loss zone. You can get 100% if that's what you want to do, but usually when we're trying to hit the 100% mark and get your body in the weight loss burning zone, the fat burning zone, that puts you also in major deprivation and restriction zone because you're thinking, I just want something and I can't even have it. Well, you could, because you only have to get it, if I'm going to use your language, you only have to get it quote unquote right 80% of the time in order for your body to switch on the fat burning furnace. Okay, here's one more thing. I've just got to share this last thing with you before we wrap it up for today, because as you know, I'm uber determined to make these podcasts between 10 and 15 minutes max. So I'm just not going to go over that time, but I really, really, really want you to get this and understand this because this was a huge one for me as well. I realized this as I was losing my weight, all the way down the scale, and even to this day. Like I had lost a lot of weight at one point and my family were the first people to start commenting. And it's not that your family necessarily doesn't want to see you succeed. They're just not maybe used to that version of you or seeing that version of you, but you will come across people in your life, friends, frenemies, who actually don't really want to see you succeed. Mostly you'll find this if you've had like a bestie or a girlfriend who has struggled with their weight and it's always been you and her together struggling with your weight. Then if you lose weight and she doesn't, if you lose weight and she doesn't, that becomes the next battle to face, because usually the people who don't want to see you succeed are going to be the first people to judge. Yeah, I don't think you look good, Kylie. You look unhealthy. You've lost too much weight. That's what people used to say to me. You've lost too much weight. You look unhealthy. You need to eat. Just start eating. Listen, all I'm going to say to you about that is it's very personal and it's at your discretion. However, know and understand whose opinion matters and whose does not. Then choose your actions accordingly. So with that, honeys, I'm going to zip off to the gym for today because I haven't been there yet. I've had a massive day of Zoom calls, Tons of content creating for you over on Insta. So if you're not following me over there yet, you better drop me a follow over on Insta, because my stories are fucking like watching a movie every day. Like when you look at people's stories, it's like, here's what I ate. Here's me walking the dog. I'm like, how fucking boring. Like, oh my God, how embarrassing for you. My stories, if you watch my story, let me put it to you this way. If you watch my stories on Insta, you could lose weight just from watching my stories, because it's like a workout. No, because you can just map out exactly what I do each day and how I do it and the quantities in which I do things. And if you follow the steps, you'll lose weight too. That's my whole goal for you people. I want you to be able to get the help that you want. I've dedicated my time, my life, my entire fucking sanity and resources to helping you. So hit me up over there in the DMs. But Kylie, I'm feeling stuck. Perfect. Let me tell you exactly what you need to do, how to do it, how much of it to do, and stop doing this over here, by the way. I am there to help. So hit me up. It's always me answering. It's not a fucking bot or a like an admin person. I don't do that. Like, I just don't do that. That's not how I roll. It's me. So I'm sending you love as always. Please remember, if you found value in today, go ahead, like, love, share, give me a follow, and please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. I will be ever so thankful. Until then, I will catch you all again next week. And now, my gorgeous ones, have an incredible week. I'll see you then. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to shimmy your butt over to kyliepax.com and sign up for one of my programs so you can start losing your weight now. You'll also find helpful notes and resources in my past podcasts that will help you lose the weight without all the BS drama. I will see you next week.